Hey guys, welcome to Player Models. This is really our primary tool. It's the area where I think you'll spend the majority of your research time. And we have three primary goals with it. The first one is to just give you as much relevant data as possible. The second is to provide the ability to create and backtest your own models. And the third one is to optimize a lineup based on the factors that you think are important. So we'll start with the data. We're looking at MLB right now. You can see all of the information here. We have stat splits, umpire information, data from our Pro Trends product, Vegas, the lines, line movement, weather, consistency and upside data, salary movement, a whole bunch of stuff that we find very relevant. And we'll have all of this data for every sport. You can sort through it by site. So if we click on FanDuel from DraftKings, the information, the salary stuff, the consistency and everything based on their salary will change. You can sort by position, and you can also sort by contest. So if we want to look solely at the players in the late games, you can do that. That'll also help with your models and particularly with optimizing a lineup. Second are player models. At the top here, you can click open, and your models that you create will be listed here. You can also click on Pro Models to get you started, and there's information on each model, and those models have different factors weighted according to what we think is important and for different reasons. So a tournament model is going to be different than a cash game model, for example. You can also create your own models, which is what we suggest you do on the left side here by weighting these sliders according to how important you think they are. So if you click on the ratings button here, you can remove or add any factors that you'd like. So if you don't care about consistency, you can click that and it will be removed here on the left hand side. You can also find out information about each of these factors, what's going into that calculation, and you can do that by hovering over the tooltip for each factor as well. So right now we're looking at a Vegas heavy model that I created, and it gives you a plus minus number right here, which is, for this model is 1.43, and that's a number that shows you the points above or below expectation the top 5% of your model, of the players from your model would have scored in the past. So this takes all these factors into account, applies it to the past on DraftKings, looking at DraftKings right now, and shows you that based on player salaries, they performed an average of 1.43 points above expectation. So that's really good. If we move these factors, say we care less about weather and more about upside, we can recalculate. You click update, and the plus minus actually went down. So this model in the past would have performed worse than the previous version. So you can play around with this, weigh different factors, see how they perform. And right now we're looking at batters. Pitchers is a different calculation, so we have to consider things like in baseball, strikeout percentage or percentile, whip percentile. So there's a few different factors there. We can move these sliders around again, update, and it'll recalculate, so this plus minus is the same. If we move Vegas down a bunch and weigh whip heavily, the plus minus actually goes down a bit. So basically what we're doing is testing our model immediately to determine how useful it is. So once you create a particular model, you can save it, and then you can optimize a lineup off of it. So what's happening every time we re-rate or create a new model or move these sliders around, these players get re-rated based on their percentile rank. So if you were to weight Vegas very, very heavily, players who are in games with on teams with a high projected total would be moved up higher. So if we move Vegas down a bit and upside, you'll see after I click update, these numbers change. And then you can see your optimal lineup for your particular model by clicking Show Optimizer. So here is the actual optimized lineup based on this particular model that we just created. You can remove any players who you don't like. So let's say that you see this lineup and you like everything except for A-Rod. You click him out, exclude him. He can't be put back in unless you want him, and then click re-update. It'll recalibrate your lineup for you. You can also lock players in. So let's say that we want Altuve and Goldschmidt locked in. It'll force those players into the lineup and then recalibrate around those players. So it's a really good way to quickly make lineups, but more importantly, you're making lineups and optimizing lineups based off of factors that you find important and models that you've created and back tested.